You're a camera woman, and I'm Alec Baldwin. Hello, my friends. It's Gabriel with The Last Huntsman Outdoors. I got my twin brother, Kenny, out here to help me with this. This is going to be a kind of a discussion and shooting video. It's going to be 22 LR and 22 guns for SHTF. Now, a couple caveats here right off the bat. First of all, we're not condoning any violence or anything like that. However, you are created in the image of God and you have a right to defend yourself. Secondly, I do not really condone even using 22 for self-defense. I personally, there's a lot of better calibers.
But that old fella at the gun store told me that 22 is...
Yeah, I know. The Boomer Fudd Tactical is going to tell you the 22 is the most deadly round ever because it ricochets around. Okay, first of all, jackass, it doesn't have enough velocity to actually ricochet around. So just throw the Boomer Fudd crap out the side. If you're going to use a gun for self-defense and like protection of life, liberty, and property and all that good stuff, go with a real caliber. That being said, we will kind of discuss self-defense with 22 for SHTF. So let's kind of get started. All right, so why would you obviously want a 22 for SHTF? Well, if you kind of have to ask that question, then you probably need to reevaluate your entire situation. 22s are a very versatile round. If you have been living under a rock and you have no idea, 22 LR is that little guy right there. I generally prefer a lot of the auto match and blazer ammo. I find that it's most reliable, at least with my guns. And that's kind of a different little subject to kind of discuss with 22. But I find that 22s are a very capable little gun to have around on your property. I will say this is my critter getter, as I call it. It's a Ruger 1022. I got the Magpul Hunter stock on it, a Vortex Crossfire 1x4, and I have a Streamlight flashlight on there. And this rifle has probably defended the property from raccoons, possums, fox, wild stray dogs, and everything in between more than just about any other gun. So 22 for that use can be actually very effective. Another thing to kind of discuss, and I'll just kind of depict this right now, is size and volume of ammo. This is one case of blazer, and that's, you know, 1,050 rounds right there. You can't, there's no other
carrying some 5.56, 1,000 rounds of 5.56.
Yeah, you can't carry 1,000 rounds of 5.56, not practically anyways.
For 1,000 rounds of buckshot.
And you could easily have this in a little cache, or even pack it out to your little bug out shelter and have quite a bit of ammo to kind of dispatch small little critters for hunting and other purposes for quite a while with 22.
One I would throw in there too is training.
Yeah, 22 LR I think is one of the best training calibers. One of the guns that I actually try to put my wife on quite a bit is a Ruger Mark IV. It's honestly a great pistol to get somebody that's new into the whole shooting realm. Yeah, I'm just kind of doing this off the cuff. I'm not Boy Scout survival, so I don't got the CIA backing me up, and I don't have a whole camera crew. So this is redneck engineering out here in Great Woods. But what do you think about for 22 for SHTF?
I mean, as a trainer, it's awesome. I mean, you can get
like my Mark IV here, for example. Well, this pistol, I have about 50,000 rounds to it. Like, not even joking, like 50,000 rounds to it.
And now I know it's not like exact 1-to-1, like shooting like your Glock 19 or something as a 22, but a lot of the same muscle memory.
The fundamentals are the same, yes.
And so, I mean, you can get like a 22 pistol and run it over and over and over again and still have the fundamentals down. And even with just the rifle, you're still getting.
And speaking of which, you know, even like the 1022, I can still do tactical drills with a 1022. So like say even in like a long-term SHTF type of situation, and say if I don't necessarily want to be burning up my valuable 5.56 or 308 ammo because I don't want to waste all of it just doing a little bit of refreshing training, having like a good 1022, you could still do rifle drills with this. You could do, you know, basic reload type of drills. You could still set up some kind of a chest rig. I mean, this is kind of ghetto for me, but I just set up a fanny pack with some spare 1022 mags and then throw it across my chest, and this is what I go out to hunt with. Either this or my trusty little Henry with one of these little guys, and I could just dump some more rounds down in the tube, which I guess we can kind of get into a discussion on like different rifles and pistols and what you would generally like to pick. Okay, so with 22s for SHTF, we're gonna discuss some things about like action types and stuff, and right now we're going to talk about rifles. We'll get to pistols in just a moment. There's several kinds of action types. The only three that we have here to try to show is lever action. Has my semi-auto, and here's a bolt action. And of course, you got some pump actions, you got some single shots, and I'm sure there's a few things in between that I haven't mentioned even.
I think you even got revolver shotgun or revolver
22 rifles, yeah, exactly.
So they're pretty versatile.
Personally, if I was only going to pick like one 22, whether it was going to be a rifle or a pistol, it would definitely be a rifle. Now, the lever action, I personally lean on the lever action for the most part. I like it. This is the Henry H001 lever action, and I like it. It's a light, handy little rifle. It holds 15 rounds. Now, it is a tube feed, so it's not going to be like a quick reload. I don't personally look at that as a huge disadvantage, though, because I don't really look at this as like a tactical type of gun. I look at this as like your critter getter type of thing. If you were, God forbid, thinking about using it for like defensive use, then I would probably lean more on the 1022 just because the reloads are a lot quicker.
I mean, you
with it.
Put one of these in there, and I mean, you got 25 rounds to back you up.
Yeah,
right
now, kind of something to kind of think about with these, though, is 22s are not the most reliable round out there. And so, and I personally find that these are kind of very hit and miss for reliability. So I personally overall like the 10 rounders better for the 1022. Now with the Henry too, something else to kind of consider is I feel like this is a little bit more reliable platform than even this, even though I still feel like this is decently reliable. And this actually has some options. You could shoot a lot more, or a few different kinds of rounds through this. And I will also say too that I find that this one is nowhere near as ammo sensitive as like your semi-auto or even your bolt action. And so
a little caveat I'll throw in there, you know, during different ammo scarcity times and all that, like even like during the pandemic, you know, finding 22 or any ammo was hard, but when you did find it, a lot of times the quality wasn't always there. And so like a lot of semi-autos might not run some of that ammo, while
the lever action actually did run it pretty decent. And I will also say too, if you kind of think about it in like a SHTF type of situation, some of your ammo might be kind of sitting around for a while. So, you know, having something that can cycle through that might be something to kind of consider as well. So if you told me I could only have one rifle for 22 for like a SHTF situation, me personally, I would probably opt for the Henry lever action, just because I have no issues with this. This thing has never jammed on me, and I could run a lot of different ammo with it. And personally, I find that I have a little better accuracy out of this Henry than I do even my 1022. You got anything else to add to that?
Actually, another thought I've thought of with 22. This be a different little niche role for it, but say if you have like, you know, it don't have to be just a bolt action, but another good thing you could do with the 22. Now we don't have one, but if you had this threaded with a, you know, something on the end of there that makes it really quiet, 22 is a lot more quiet than even a 9mm or anything else. But then when you put a can on the end of one, they get really quiet really quick.
Yeah, they do. They do.
So, I mean, in a shit hit the fan scenario, I mean, having something that was that quiet
would be pretty handy for sure.
So just have some oil filters laying around.
All right, so another thing to kind of discuss is, I guess, pistols and revolvers for 22s and, you know, kind of like that SHTF type of situation. Me personally, I don't feel, other than training, I don't feel that pistols would really have much of a place. Like, even for like a large infantry role, you know that infantry doesn't really need a pistol so much. Only thing I could see with that is like if you have like your other gear and all that, and you still wanted a critter getter on you, but not something that was like a rifle. Like say you have your like your main rifle and all that, but you still wanted a critter getter with you. Yeah, I think there's always a type
that could be a lot more packable than.
I think there's always can be a situation. I guess my situation is different than most people, because a lot of people are thinking like SHTF, I'm gonna grab my bug out bag and go. And I'm kind of more of the like homestead, I'm out in my home is my bug out, you know. And so like most people, when they think of bugging out, is where I live. So, you know, for me, I kind of lean more on like, hey, I want something like a rifle. But I do think that pistols are good. Especially 22 pistols would be great for like a training purpose, so you can keep up on your pistol skills. So when you have your little Glock on you,
not a good fighting pistol.
No, not really.
What if you were like Arthur Morgan with that thing?
Nobody's Arthur Morgan. Arthur Morgan's a one of a kind. But at least with like a 22 pistol, I think they still can be valuable for like a training element. And there's always caveats here, okay, folks? So don't take anything that we're saying like 100% concrete here. Because like, okay, I'm going to say I wouldn't want a Mark IV for like my home defense pistol. However, you might have that, you know, teenage kid or that young lady or old elderly person that can't hardly handle any other pistol. And I'll say anything is better than nothing. So, you know, there's...
Or you might be out in the woods doing something and
this is what you just happen to have on you type of thing.
I mean, if you had this in hand, trouble arises, I'd rather use this immediately in hand than drop this and go for my Glock 19 or something. Like, maybe do a mag dump with this and then drop it and then go for your other
pistol. Yeah. So that's just something else to kind of consider with 22s.
Got the blue helmet, 875 yards, my 22 LR. Clean kill, man.
All right, so kind of a final little discussion that we're gonna actually take my earplugs out so I'm not screaming. Final little discussion that we're gonna kind of discuss for 22s for SHTF is defensive use. Now, right off the bat, you know, I started off the whole video with a caveat that I don't really advocate for 22s for like a defensive use, just because there's so many much better calibers that I always would rather have. That being said,
and I'll just throw out there, I think the #1 issue with the 22 isn't even necessarily just the lack of power itself, it's just the reliability.
It's a combination of both of those things. That all being said, it might be the only gun you have, or it might be the only gun that you have in your possession at the time, or the only gun you have on you. Or even another situation that I could potentially think of is, you know, you're out scouting, hunting, and stuff like that, and you got marauders, raiders, you know, whatever, and this might be the only thing you got on you. Or, you know, I definitely would rather try to use this at 100 yards than a pistol at 100 yards.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there is always that possibility. Now, I know, me personally, if that was the case, I would rather have the 1022. The 1022 is fairly decently reliable, and I would kind of try to steer away from these. I've had, like I said, I've had mixed reliability out of these. I would rather have 10 reliable rounds than 25 rounds that I'm kind of unsure of. So that's just me personally. And kind of in the situation that, you know, kind of like I mentioned, if it might be the only gun you have type of thing, and any gun's better than no gun. Here's a dirty little secret. One of these in the right place, oops, now you have a different gun, if you catch my meaning. So, that's just all I'm gonna say for defensive use. I guess another thing
I'd throw into, I mean, if you are going to use like a 22 pistol, 22 rifle, just be sure to have lots of follow-up shots. Like, don't just do like a one and done thing, because that's probably not going to be the case at all.
No, and I would say try to get the best ammo you can if you had to use it for like
CCI mini mags or...
Yeah, and I would opt for more reliability. And I know there's kind of the 22 hollow points, they don't work at all.
No.
Not like they're advertised. So I would just go for something more reliable, more solid, and all that. But this is just kind of a quick little fun and discussion type of video. With all that being said, be prepared both physically and spiritually. God bless, and carry on.